my second one of the night that I'm recording anyway. You won't see this one for quite a while. It's the 16th of the 8th at about 4:30. Yeah, gonna do a chart, because why not, basically. I don't know which one to do though, because I've got half a dozen here on my screen that I can select from. I think we will do beat 'em ups. Yes, we'll do a beat 'em ups chart, a games chart. In no particular order, these are my top 5 beat 'em ups. We've got a couple of honourable mentions. Let me just get myself comfortable. So first one, we have Mortal Kombat Saga, as in the whole series of Mortal Kombat. It's not just a specific game. I've been a fan of the Mortal Kombats literally since they first came out back in, I think, was it 1992, 95, something like that. I can't remember. I know I wasn't old enough to buy it. My uncle had a Game Gear when it came out. I don't have a console, and we both really wanted the game, but we didn't really want to pay loads of money for it, so we went halves on it. And ever since then, I've been addicted to Mortal Kombat, basically. I love them all. Like the way, the only ones I've not played is the Sub-Zero's Quest and the Armoured one, the kind of like the first-person shooter type thing one that they did, which wasn't really a beat 'em up. It was just a random game. I don't know what kind of a game Sub-Zero's Quest is, because I've never playing it, because I didn't have the console that it was on, same as the other one. I've never really played Shaolin Monks, because that seemed to have been quite a weird game, where you had to do certain things as a 2-player to unlock certain things, and it was just a bit weird because there was only me playing it, so it seemed a bit weird to try and do certain things and with a separate player and so on. So yeah, that was one that I never really played much. I've got it. I've got it on my Xbox, my original Xbox. Stuff like Mortal Kombat 10 is one of my favourites in the saga. I've not got Mortal Kombat 11 yet, because I am a poor person and I can't afford it. Look at my beard, look, what beard. I don't know why it's gone curly. Anyway, back to the games. Yes, Mortal Kombat Saga, I loved it. I love the violence of it, I love the brutalities, I love the fatalities, the animalities, the babalities, the friendships. I love the fact that in the newer games, like from 10, I think they've done it also in 11, I'm not sure. I love how they've made the fatalities easier to perform, with it's just like a couple of buttons to perform it, rather than having a huge, great big kind of 10-button combo kind of thing to remember. So yeah, I think it's much better like that. I love the fact you've got some really cool unlockable characters, like in Mortal Kombat 10, where you've had like Leatherface and Jason and the Alien. Some really cool characters, like classic kind of horror kind of characters. I'm really looking forward to playing 11 when I can afford it, because I want to play Spawn. Spawn is one of my favourite anti-heroes. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to playing that one. But I'm going to have to wait until it's kind of come right down in price, because I just can't afford it. My second in my list is Soul Calibur. Obviously Mortal Kombat, by the way, is a multi-platform game, like SNES, Mega Drive, I don't think it was on Saturn or the Dreamcast, I could be wrong. N64, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Xbox 360, and Xbox One. The only game that I'm not also that keen on is the DC Universe one. It was Mortal Kombat versus DC. That seemed a bit weird to me. I've got it, but it's very rare that I play on it. Also, the cool thing about Mortal Kombat 9 was that you could play as Kratos from the God of War saga, which I absolutely loved. His fatalities weren't brilliant, and he obviously had a huge big combo to type out for those, so I never really did loads of them. But it was really cool to play as Kratos because he's like one of my other kind of favourite anti-heroes. Spawn is my favourite superhero anti-hero. Kratos is probably my favourite anti-hero of all round kind of thing. Next on the list is Soul Calibur 2. I had it on the original Xbox, and I had Spawn and some other character that was done by Todd Farlane. It was also available on the PS2, but you had a different character for the PS2. You didn't have Spawn, you had someone else. And the GameCube had a different character as well. I think the GameCube had Link. And the PS2, I think, had Yoda. I think, I could be wrong, it could have been one of the other games that they had. It could have had Darth Vader or something. I don't know, that was in 3 or 4. Soul Calibur 3 or 4. I can't remember. Each of the different consoles had a kind of console unique fighter. But I obviously had the Xbox version because I had an Xbox rather than a PS2 at the time. So I had Spawn, who was my favourite character on there. There was Tarly as well, who I quite liked. She was quite badass. I've never played the Soul Calibur games up until then. I hadn't played number 1. I hadn't played the Soul Blade or whatever, the Dreamcast kind of original game that it was inspired by. I didn't play that. Played Soul Calibur 2. I got Soul Calibur 2 on my PS3 because it was in the PS Store. I think I can get it on the PC. I'm not sure. I might have to invest in look into that and invest in that. I've not played the other Soul Caliburs. I've got some of the others, but I've not got around to playing them yet because they're fairly recent purchases. But my favourite one, like I say, was Soul Calibur 2 because it was just brilliant. The kind of like ring outs and how you can knock them through stuff, and you had to collect, kind of buy different kind of weapons and abilities and stuff like that. It was a really cool thing. How you could unlock the different characters, loads and loads of characters to unlock, and through doing different story modes and quests and everything. Another favourite is the Rumble Roses. The one that I've got is on the PS2, and they did bring out a sequel, Rumble Roses XX, on the 360. I don't know if they've done any more or if it's come out on other consoles, but I had it on the PS2. This was a really cool kind of, it was a women-only kind of fighting game. Like all the characters were all women, and they had split personalities. So, for example, you'd have like one fighter who was like a goodie, and another one that was a baddie. But depending on how you treated that person, their personalities could shift from being a good girl to a bad girl, and vice versa. And then if you did that, you would then unlock that other version of that person. And then obviously they had different moves depending on if you have a good one or a bad one. Different outfits again. There was a mud. You could fight in the mud. That looked so cheesy on the PS2. I've not played the XX one. I've had it for ages, but I got rid of my PS2, not PS2, I got rid of my 360 for a while. But I've got another one now, so I must get around to playing it again. But no, that was a cool little game. That was one of the first beat 'em ups that I played on the PS2. One of the few wrestling games that I actually quite like. I'm not really a WWE fan, like wrestling. I mean, I love the WWE, but I'm not the games. I'm not like keen on the games because of the grappling and the tap outs and so on. I think they're quite awkward to do. Another game was the DOA, the Dead or Alive series. I think it's number 5 I've got for my PS Vita. I think it's number 5. I'm not sure. It's a version of number 5 at least. And it was like, this is possibly the newest console game that I've got in all my charts that are like the gaming ones, is the PS Vita one. I don't think I've got a PS3 or PS4 one. I don't think I've got a 360 or an Xbox One game. I haven't got an Xbox One. But I don't think I've got any of the new kind of next-gen consoles as a favourite game. Not because they're not good, but because I haven't had the time to invest in them to get to kind of like them. Other than this kind of one for the Vita, which I had like years ago when I first got my Vita. It's a really cool game. It uses the touchscreen and the touchpad on the back. I think there's a mode where you can just use the touchscreens on the front and you kind of face your fighter rather than it being a side-scrolling game. I think that's how it runs. I've never really used that feature much, but again, it's a really cool one because it works in sync with the PS3 or PS4 games, in that if you unlock something on one console, it unlocks it on the other. So that's kind of really cool. Another game, my final game, is Killer Instinct. I think that was also on the Mega Drive, but I had it on the SNES. It was a really cool, kind of really brutal game where you had like killer combos and ultra combos. Like you had like 19 hit combos and 51 hit combos and 70 hit combos, and you could defeat a person from the offset if you hit the right combo. The characters were really cool, very unique characters. There's like a glacier kind of guy that's made out of ice. There's a fire one. There's Fulgor one. There's There's Orchid, Bee Orchid. Again, like some really cool kind of looking kind of fighters. A very cool kind of game. Very brutal. There wasn't really kind of that much blood in it, from what I can remember, but it was a very brutal game. Just about as brutal as Mortal Kombat's, but you didn't do fatalities in them. The actual game itself came in a black cartridge for the SNES. Even though the SNES's games were normally like grey, kind of offy, guff, grey, whitey kind of colour, the Killer Instinct one was a black cartridge. So yeah, that's those ones. We have some honourable mentions. The first one being Street Fighter 2, or just the general Street Fighter games. The one that I had was the SNES game, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, not the Championship Edition because that was mainly for the Mega Drive, but I have the SNES version. One of your first kind of beat 'em ups that there was really in modern type times, like 80s and 90s and so on, or 90s and noughties and so on. I think they lost their way a little bit in more recent years, but I loved the bright boldness of the original kind of Street Fighter 2s. Awesome soundtrack to it. I'm sure you've all heard of it, you've all heard the soundtrack, you've all heard the little voiceovers that you've got, like the Hadoukens and Tiger and so on. It's an awesome game, but I don't think it's quite good enough or stand out enough to be in my top 5. Another good one was Eternal Champions. That was for the Mega Drive. I don't know if it came out on SNES or if it's just a Mega Drive only. And that was like taking champions from around the world and around different times of Earth's history and so on. There's like a vampire type character, like an undead kind of zombie vampire type thing. He was my favourite one. It's been ages since I played it. I don't think I've got it on original cartridge. I've got it on emulator, so it will be a game that I will be playing when I do my Mega Drive one in the month. Once I figured out controls and everything. So, look forward to that one. It's a cool game. Very cool, unique concept. It wasn't the most violent game. It was a standard kind of beat 'em up in the same kind of way that it was like Street Fighter and Killer Instincts. That kind of style game. The background story was quite... They all had their own kind of like story to tell. And depending on if you completed your tower, depended on how you saw the story and so on. And that's it. Just the 2 honourable mentions, unlike some of the others where I've got like 3 or 4. Hope you enjoyed it. Would you say these are games that deserve to be in a top chart or honourable mentions? Would you agree with mine, or would you say there were other beat 'em ups? Obviously, you've got more modern ones. I think you could class Super Smash Brothers as a beat 'em up. Really, I've not played any of those. I had a demo of one on the 3DS before I sold it, and it was an okay game. It wasn't brilliant. It didn't really stand out enough as a game, in my opinion. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, do the bell, do all that lot, and see you all in another video. Bye.